Hiya, welcome back to another video. I'm joined by Paul, my frill dragon. For a joke on TikTok, I started a little series called Reptile Therapy, where each little short I appear with a different reptile and tell them all about the things that annoy me. It's not really a joke. These animals are amazing therapists. They don't listen, they don't understand, but they make a bloody good job of pretending. Today, I want to talk about why reptiles are so important to me and what they mean to us. Anyone who saw our boa video uploaded a few weeks ago knows that when I was 8, I was given what I was told as a corn snake for a gift. Never buy pets as gifts. Turns out it was an adder, but I didn't know that for 5 years. The internet wasn't a thing back then. I know I am much older than I actually look. And the boa that I got soon afterwards and had for 25 years, it just fueled a lifelong passion and hobby for me that's never going to go away. I love to look after these guys. I love to give them everything they need and everything they require for healthy, happy lives. But what are reptiles to me? They're not a fad. They're not a phase. They're not a starter pet. If you're in this hobby, you know exactly what I mean. Reptiles are amazing pets. Everything about them is fascinating. And despite what some people say, you can have a really strong bond. But I think you already know that. Let's talk about it. So that pet boa that I got at a really young age, I wouldn't recommend it. I certainly wouldn't recommend ever giving a pet as a present. I don't think it's a very good idea, but it worked out well for me. My parents got divorced when I was really young, and I really wanted a pet, but one that, with my mum working and me having to spend time at my dad's every other weekend, something that wouldn't mind if I was away for a day or two. So a snake. I was fascinated by them and I absolutely loved them. The adder slash corn snake was a bit of a mistake, but soon rectified once we eventually realised. But the boa was fantastic and an amazing pet. Obviously not the same one as this. This is Gigi, but the same species, boa imperata. Don't think I actually knew the technical name then. I think I just called them a boa constrictor. And very much enjoyed the song about being eaten by a boa constrictor. I just needed a pet that I could love. And for me, it became a lifelong hobby. So, boas are my favourite snake. And my mum was also obsessed with reptiles and absolutely loved them. So it gave us something to bond over, something to do together, and she was able to look after it if I wasn't there, which was great. Obviously now, if someone tried to gift me or missell me the wrong species of snake, especially if it was venomous, I'd know. And if I didn't know, I'd be able to look it up, I'd be able to check online. But back then, the internet wasn't really a thing. I think I had a set of encyclopedias, but I was given a corn snake and trusted it was a corn snake. And I think, what does that tell you? That sometimes you don't know everything. And I certainly don't. I've kept snakes for about 30 years, but I'm not going to claim to be an expert in everything because I'm not. Apart from a very lucky few, most people in the world have had issues and problems. These reptiles have been with me throughout all of them. Not the same ones, but reptiles themselves have been with me through all of those problems. Whether it was the eating disorder that I'd pretty much suffered with from my early teens to my late 20s, reptiles didn't care. They just needed me to show up. They didn't care that I was every weight from 6 stone to 28 stone. Never gave it down. All they wanted was looking after and giving good lives. And I was able to do that. They gave me something I was able to bond with, look after, feel responsible for, and give great lives. You get back what you put in. So they needed me to give them a nice life, a suitable enclosure, food, water, all of the basics, plus enrichment, plus some companionship if they wanted it. I don't think they needed that. I think that was definitely a me thing. But what did they give me? They gave me patience, ability to understand body language, behavior, to be able to focus on what other being needs and to be able to develop some empathy, some sympathy, some skills that don't go away. They stay with you for life. You build those skills and they're transferable. I've gone a bit LinkedIn, but they are transferable skills. For me, I didn't transfer them. I just stayed with reptiles because they're amazing, aren't they? Since I got older and the internet became a thing and communication became easier with people who were into the same things as you, The reptile community has been really important to me. It's like a passport to a whole world of learning. So the skills that I developed, I was able to pass on to other people. The skills that other people knew that I'd never heard of, species I'd never heard of, they were able to share it with me. Yes, there's some elements of the reptile community that are toxic, hideously toxic. If you've ever posted in a sub, I'm not going to say which app, you'd know what I mean. Some of them are vile, and people just want to knock each other down for the sake of ego. And I don't understand it, and I never will. But reptiles, they bring people together. I'd say 90% of the reptile community is pretty amazing. You have got the old school who think everything should be done their way and nothing changes. You've got the old school who are willing to learn and willing to understand. Probably includes me, who realise that things do move on, things do improve, things do get better, and that we can offer our reptiles better care. Look at chameleons, for example. 10, 20 years ago, people didn't want to keep chameleons because they were a nightmare to keep alive. They were so tricky. Technology, the way we look after things has moved on. Enclosures, lighting, UVB, substrate, all moved on so that we can now keep chameleons in captivity and give them an amazing life. And without people sharing those skills, that never used to happen. But there is something else you need to think about. If you bought a hamster when you were young, maybe 2, 3 years, I did have a hamster that lived for nearly 4 and was almost entirely bald and looked a little, it doesn't matter what it looked like, but it was ball shaped. It's not a very long commitment. It feels long when you're young, but what did 20 years with a boa look like? That could have very easily backfired. I could have ended up having to rehome them. I didn't because they meant the world to me. It could have gone very wrong. You do need to stop and think, this is a long commitment. Have I got that in me? Will things change? Will my life change? Do I want to go away to university? You need to think. You need to have that understanding that these animals are going to be with you for sometimes 20 plus years. It's a really long commitment. And if we're looking at tortoises, they're going to be with your grandkids for a really long time. So, as well as listening to me when sometimes you feel as a teenager that no one else will, they taught me a lot of valuable skills, and as I said, I'm able to pass them on to other people. So Morgan, who you've seen in Liverpool Reptiles videos, I was able to mentor her when she first started getting into reptiles and first was able to keep them. I was able to talk it through with her. I was able to teach her the skills that she didn't have at the time. Now that's flipped, and she's able to teach me things as well. She's done her research, she's looked into the animals that she keeps, and she's able to share knowledge with me, and that works amazing. And that's how the community should work. If you see someone doing something wrong, you should be able to tell them, you should be able to talk to them, you should be able to offer advice. What you shouldn't do is preach, attack, get down their throat, downvote them. It becomes horrible. And who's going to listen to that? All that person is going to do is hide, is not going to share their photos or their videos anymore. They're just going to go into hiding and not be able to ask for advice. They're going to be too scared. They're not going to be able to approach anyone because they're too scared of being told that everything they do is wrong. And yes, I fully believe and understand that animal welfare is at the heart of everything you're doing when you talk about this. But is it? Is there a little bit of ego sprinkled in as well? I think there is. I've got older, my hair's a little bit greyer, but things that haven't changed about me is my curiosity and my love for these guys and the cats. I'm not sure they've actually, I think I'm filming this a little bit too early in the day. They're all still asleep. My cats are all teenagers in their mind. But the curiosity has remained. So these guys who helped me so much through my teens and were there when I needed them, now I'm there for them. I wasn't able to have a reptile room when I was younger. Obviously, you're young. You've got other things you need to spend your money on. You've got a life that you need to build. Now I am in a position where I can, and I can afford to give them the care that they need and the time that they need. I can spend that time with them. I can make sure that they're healthy. I can interact with them fully every day. I work from home. I work in the reptile room, and I'm able to spend my time with these reptiles. So as soon as I'm on my lunch break or I finish work, I'm with these guys, or I've got one sat on my shoulder. And it's not just me who got older as well. These guys are all getting a little bit older. Some of my reptile room, some of my reptile family are babies, some of them are older. But they'll be with me for a very long time, 25, 30 years. Is the person who got that reptile 10 years ago the same person that they are today? No, and things change. And that's another reason that I think it's possibly better to wait until later on in life, unless you've got a great support network or your plans are firmly in place. Or In my case, and maybe yours, and that's great, let me know in the comments below. Maybe you already know what you want and you're fixed and you're ready and you're happy and able and you just want a little skink or Vegemite. Actually, do you know the one thing that would be absolutely lovely is if you liked and subscribed. Every time I have to ask, I die a little bit inside, but I know that without asking, the channel's not going to grow. So maybe if you just did it and you actually just liked, commented, subscribed, I wouldn't have to ask. I wouldn't die inside and you wouldn't have to sit through it. Like and subscribe. Thank you. So with the reptile community or with Morgan, there's so much more that both of us have to learn. If you're a new keeper, you're not behind. You're not behind anyone, don't worry. Do your research and you'll be at the same stage. If you're an experienced keeper, 10, 20, 30 plus years, you're not done learning. And that's the fun bit about the hobby as well. It's not just the interaction with the animals. It's not just sitting here with a Vegemite on you. It's not being done. It's knowing that there's so much more to learn. There's so many more discoveries that could come out tomorrow. And that's what's fantastic. So without getting too morbid or going into too many details, quite a few issues I did have when I was a teenager. And these guys were there for me. They listened when I just felt no one else could. And I think that's why I love to give so much back to them. They mean a lot to me. They always have, and I think they always will. So we've talked about how they're not a short-term commitment, how they can be with you for a very, very long time. I hope you're with me for a very long time. And that's part of the charm. It's not just a negative. It's not a bad thing. It's also something that's phenomenal. You can build that bond. They're going to outlast most trends, most phases, sometimes relationships, sometimes friendships. They're going to outlast it. They can see you through those things. And all you need to do in return is look after them. Personally, I don't think that's a bad deal. I think that's fantastic. And I know we live in a world of oversharing and social media, but sometimes if you've got something on your mind that you don't want to make public, these guys tell nobody. And that's why a joke series on TikTok called Reptile Therapy, it's not completely removed from reality. Yes, I add comedy elements to it, but I do tell my reptiles things I probably wouldn't tell anyone apart from the people closest to me in the world, and definitely things I wouldn't share on social media. So it may have started as a joke. It's probably one of the most accurate things I've ever said. So me and Morgan started this channel because we're excited to share things with you. We're excited to pass on some of our knowledge and also hear back from you with yours in the comments below. It would be awesome to get a community going, and that's what we wanted to do, but a nice one. And we've got content planned for quite a while. There are things we can't wait to share with you, things we're really excited about. And we hope you stick around to watch it. That would be awesome. Paul has seen one of my snakes and Paul's very interested in going to say hello or start a fight. Who knows? So like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments below what you keep, what reptiles mean to you. That would be brilliant to get a little conversation going about what they actually mean to you and what they've given you in your life and what you give them in return. Hope it's all good things. We'll see you soon. Hello. If you want to see more of these snakes and the rest of the snakes in the reptile room, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and I'll see you soon.